It is just going to be about some of the points that you should keep in mind when applying to Korea. And before applying to Korea, I was also looking into like a lot of videos about how to apply, the eligibility, etc., etc. But I found that there was very less information about graduate studies rather than the GKSG. I think it is very important for people to know about all the other exciting scholarships in Korea. The main process of application for a graduate, and I am talking about a graduate that is not in the field of arts but rather in the sciences, because I'm doing a graduate as a master in engineering. So I feel like bioengineering, biological sciences, and biomedical engineering, these courses are really good in Korea, but I found very less people actually talking about it in a platform like YouTube, like the exact steps that you need while applying to Korea. I try to correct those mistakes. So the first thing I would like to talk about is, why did I choose South Korea? I think it's mainly because compared to other countries, I felt like the research here is actually pretty good, especially in the field of sciences. And also the scholarship, the stipend, finding a good professor, and also finding someone who can fund me and also like give me good stipend would be enough to like live here. So I think that was one of the main reasons why I chose Korea, because I really liked the research that they were doing in my field. And also the process for application in general, you know that there are two intakes. If you guys know or don't know, it's like there is a spring intake and a fall intake. So the spring intake actually comes during the period of September to December of the previous year is when you apply for the spring intake for the next year. So the spring intake actually starts from late February or March. That is when you actually have the spring intake. But the application for the spring intake begins in the previous year, that is from September to December. And then you have, and for some universities like SNU, the spring intake actually starts on June of the previous year if you need to go to on February of the next year. And then you have the fall intake. So basically it is happening on April. I think it starts from February to April, and then your classes will begin by July, August time. However, there are some exceptions to this. For KAIST, they have a fall intake, which is like they have a first round and a second round. So the first round for fall begins by December. So it's actually things that you need to note here is that you will get chances to apply again to these universities. Like KAIST has 2 rounds for the fall intake. Like similarly, you have SKKU, which opens 3 rounds, but you need to constantly keep an eye on it. So you may get a chance to apply 3 times if you didn't get in the first time. And all of these come with an application fee. So you need to pay an application fee. It would be on an average around 5,000 to 8,000 depending on the university, depending on your course, and etc. And also you need to write your SOP or your study plan if you're doing a research-based course like a master's or a master's PhD integrated course or a PhD course. You will have to write a research plan or a study plan. So if you really need to know how to write like a research plan or an SOP, I can help you with that as well. Guide, the study guide that they release for each intake. So you need to read that, and you need to be ready with your documents at least 2 to 3 months before you apply. And nobody's going to tell you this, because sometimes what they give in the guide, they expect you to do more than that. So I personally have had my own sets of trial and error with this, which is why I'm saying now apostille is something like a notarization done by the MEA, Ministry of External Affairs, and so you need to like usually apostille all your transcripts, including your degree certificate, and it takes around 1 to 2 weeks for the apostille process to happen. Some university guides may tell you that it is okay if you don't apostille right now. you can apostille it later, like after you get accepted, you can apostille it and send it to us. Now that is a good way, but it always affects your acceptance chances. That is, if you apostille and give your document. So if you apostille your document, it is more easier for the Korean universities to actually accept you, because they find your document more legal, if you know what I'm trying to say. Like if there are like maybe say 50 students applying, and around 10 of them have apostille documents, even though it is not mentioned in the guide. But then if you are one of the people who apostille the documents, you have greater chance of passing the first hurdles. And so so during that process, I did have like a gap year. And so during the gap year, I also got to like do a lot of self-study on where I went wrong at the same time. When you're having a year gap, never keep yourself like not doing anything. Always occupy yourself. So I was constantly attending internships and workshops and all kinds of certification courses, because I feel like it fills up your CV. And also when you write your SOP, you have been doing different kinds of things in your year gap, just makes them feel that you're responsible for your time. If you're having a lab-based course, now this is where it all changes, okay? Because I feel like not many people talk about this, but you can succeed 85 to 90% in your acceptance if you contact a professor. The professor conducts an interview. In your SOP or in your research plan, you can always mention his name. You can keep him as a reference, and also talking to him about what you really want from that course, from the lab, and from the university if you're going for a lab-based course. And reaching out to professors, I would always suggest like reach out to one professor or two professors maximum from a department, and always send a proper formal email. Always link your CV and your degree certificate. Be patient. You may not receive a response from every other professor. Be wary of that in Korea, professors may not respond to you at all, or they may respond to you. So you need to give time, which is why I'm saying you should always begin your preparations 1 to 2 months before you apply to the university. Because when the application window opens, it is only going to open for around say a week. And during that time, contacting professors, preparing apostilles, everything is going to stress you out. You need to know like which city you want to really study in, the living expense, the average living costs in that city, because Seoul can be more expensive than say a city like Busan. Considering where you want to study, which city you want to study is also very important. So application to Korean universities on your own is the best thing you can do. Like trust me on that, because I think since last year I've been seeing a lot of agencies coming up with promises to get you into Korean universities, but it's just costing you a lot of money when you can do it all on your own. Trust me, because doing it all on your own itself, including the application fee, is going to cost you less money than paying a lot of money to the agency. Applying for the visa is also a simple, straightforward process. I would like to talk about the scholarship, because everything is not GKS. Of course, GKS gives the biggest benefits. GKSG comes at February, I believe. I haven't applied for a GKSG, so I don't know. So it comes in February, and you can take it for the upcoming fall intake and not for the spring intake. So you will only have, that means with GKSG you have only one chance, which is the fall intake. But also you have universities offering their own set of scholarships, like you have the KAIST scholarship for KAIST, which is fully funding international students and also giving them stipend. Then you have universities like Post-Tech, you have SKKU offering their STEM scholarship. So there is a lot of scholarships being offered. I would really like everybody that is applying for a grad, especially like a graduate course, to like really look into the points that I mentioned, because it could really increase your chances to get accepted. The add about the scholarship is that if you do IELTS, the minimum requirement for IELTS in Korea to like get admission, the requirement they're saying is 6.5. So if you get more than 6.5, then itself like you will get scholarships in Korean university. So from this video, if you liked it, please like, share and subscribe. I would like to share more helpful things that can benefit all of you guys. Thank you.